China is celebrating, and there's much reason to celebrate too. China's economy is growing at unprecedented speed. Beijing is about to host the Summer Olympic Games. This year marks 3 decades since the economic opening up of China. Since then, millions of Chinese have immigrated outside of their motherland in search of a better life abroad. But as China discovers the world, we ask if their cultural identity might be left behind. Meet Lucy, a girl from the southwest city of Chongqing, China. Right now she's enjoying her life in London, but things haven't always been this merry.
I only really started socializing with foreigners after I met my German boyfriend. When I first came here, I was very much trying to stick with my Chinese friends. I only used English at school, in lectures. And after lectures, it's back to Chinese again. Also, Chinese and Asian people in general, they tend to think of the British people as cold and reserved. So it created a kind of a mental barrier to me. I did an industry placement in Germany, and we had weekly gatherings. It gave me a chance to hang out with them. And the more I hung out with them, the more I realized that in fact they are very nice people, just the same as us. We can share jokes, watch movies, go for a drink, and there is no much difference.
While Lucy is actively embracing her life abroad, Karen is counting days to her return to China.
I grew up in China. There are strong feelings attached. Another important reason is that China is developing at astronomical speed. Foreigners can't wait to come to China, and I feel like they are pretty happy living in China too. In reality, China is becoming more and more international and much more developed. You will find that it's not that different to staying abroad.
Karen too has seen the world, travelled to corners as far apart as Japan and the US. But unlike Lucy, she came to the conclusion that the world is flat and nowhere is perfect.
I've spoken to some Chinese living there. Some of them had gone through higher education and obtained citizenship. Some immigrated through legal routes, but ended up working in low-paid jobs in Chinatown. And some were illegal immigrants who were waiting for general pardon. The 3 kinds of people all have no alternative in their life, more or less. They can see their homeland prospering day by day, and people who go abroad are more well-off, more westernized, which seems completely different from when they first left China. They've all had thoughts and found themselves questioning whether or not the life they built abroad was worth the sacrifices they had to make. The only solace they have is knowing that the next generation will benefit from their move and build a more successful life in a foreign land.
Lucy's life abroad is a wholly different experience. It's lunchtime, and Lucy is going for a stroll and some exotic food at the nearby Portobello market. Like many Chinese, Lucy finds living in a multicultural cosmopolitan the most appealing feature of living abroad. After her afternoon walk, Lucy calls her mom to have their weekly chatting marathon. Her mother has recently mastered the beast of modern technology and made an electronic greeting card for Lucy.
Of course, I miss my parents. I think I'm a very family-oriented person. I call them every Saturday. And usually our conversations last 4 hours. I wish I could be with them, but that doesn't mean I have to go back to China. If they could be here and stay with me, I would be very happy.
For many Chinese immigrants, the relationship with the family they are leaving behind is one of the most painful issues. Dot, a second-generation immigrant, is finding the Chinese tradition of kinship surprisingly strong.
My dad's health doesn't allow him to move too far because he just had a heart transplant about a year ago. And in some way that's why the guilt came in for me, because I feel like I should be back and helping out a little bit. I mean, a lot of my friends said that, well, it's your parents' problem, so don't bring it onto yourself. But like, well, yeah, but they're my parents.
Dot has been here since she was 9. Working in a Chinese tea shop is her way of staying in touch with her Chinese heritage.
And I do try to force myself when the opportunities arise to try and speak more Cantonese because I don't really want to lose my roots, and I do see Chinese as a very special language. It's beautiful in writing.
Lucy too experiences nostalgia for her old life in China. Late in the evening, Lucy meets up with her boyfriend to go to her high school reunion at Piccadilly Circus. It is no coincidence that 10 out of the 40 students from the same high school class have ended up in England, one way or another. The new affluent class of Chinese is all too eager to send their offspring abroad. Lured by the fine prospects of a life abroad, ever bigger numbers of Chinese are on the move. Various sources estimate that there is a total of about 15 million Chinese living abroad. This undoubtedly has contributed to the new wave of interest in China. Professor Hugo de Boer is a long-established Sinophile. He heads the China Media Center at the University of Westminster. He is certain that this great migration of the Chinese abroad has taken the world to a new level of understanding of modern China.
The most valuable experiences in life, the most valuable things that you can learn come from talking to other people rather than just from books. Books, I think, can elaborate, can help you to place some framework on what you learn from other people. But learning from other people is the most important thing. And of course, to learn about China, you need to talk to Chinese people.
Professor de Boer has derived his own theory of why the Chinese identity will not be easily lost.
Who has invested most in the People's Republic of China in the last 20 years? Overseas Chinese. Why? They could invest everywhere else. They invest because they consider themselves to be Chinese. I think the pull of Chinese culture is very, very strong. Exactly why that is another question. It's a very complicated question. But the pull of Chinese culture is very powerful. Chinese people, on the whole, do not lose their culture easily. I don't think there is any chance of these people losing their culture. They may adopt some modern ideas which you think are Western, but maybe they're not particularly Western, they're just modern. But they remain Chinese.
And Lucy agrees.
If I go back to China now, I might feel some time to adjust to the new Chinese environment. After all, I was here for so many years, and might feel detached from the way of life there, but I'm still Chinese. So I'm sure I will find a way to get used to it. I don't think I will lose my Chinese identity, because when I came here, I was already 18. And I spent such a long time in China, reading in Chinese, speaking in Chinese. People who lose touch with their identity are usually the ones that come here when they are very young, maybe around 10, basically when their personality are still shaping. But for me, the two different cultures, Chinese and Western cultures, won't cancel each other at all. They can be perfectly coexist in me in the same time. So no, I'm Chinese, and I will always stay Chinese.